girls are fighting. Which girls? Not these girls. It's I'ma let you finish.
We love each other so much that we're taping the show twice in a 24-hour period.
Hello, it's I'ma Let You Finish with Court and Amy on the Pantheon Podcast Network, a show 172. I cannot believe we're at 172 shows.
All right, can I just say something? We'll say this very quick, and I know we're having a sports section. We are in third freaking place in the conference right now.
It's just like...
And that means I did the math. We're talking about the Knicks, obviously.
Yeah.
We're not in any conference. I mean, we're what 3 games behind Milwaukee? Things could happen. Happen.
Stranger shit has happened. And you know what's really good is the fact that OG's been out with, inflammation of the elbow.
And Julius
is out.
And we're blowing these people out.
Now these are teams like the Hornets. We absolutely should beat the Hornets, right?
Yeah.
But to see our scrappy Knicks finally have that thing that we want them to have, which is the fight, fight for it. And this group seems to have that fight. We always joke or we scream dynasty. If you know us, we're always screaming dynasty. But the truth of the matter is, if you're a Knicks fan, you're a long-suffering Knicks fan. And I do believe that the NBA is better when the New York teams are good. We're the number one market. It doesn't help to have the premier New York team just being complete shit.
You know that restaurant that's on the corner? I'm not going to say the name because I don't even remember the name. But the restaurant that used to be where the sports bar is.
Yeah.
Okay. All of a sudden, they used to only have Nets flags. All of a sudden, what's up there? The blue and the orange? Latecomers. Well, that's because Spike is also right around the corner and he eats there. So I'm sure Spike is like, I'll pay for the sign.
Right.
I'll buy you a blue and orange flag.
I mean, listen, I'm seeing Knicks gear all over the city.
All over the place.
And when I wear my hat, the Knicks hat that you got me from that thing that you did with the Knicks, literally every time I'm wearing it, people give the salute, the up.
Let me tell you something. And blue and orange is not a good color to pull off.
No. Yeah, it's kind of like...
it's not a good color. From a purely stylish point of view, I would much rather be a Nets fan because it's black and white.
Yeah, that's easier to do.
Blue and orange. I'll tell you really quick, sorry, and we got to get to those. In Trader Joe's the other day, I'm wearing my Knicks hat, and the cashier, he goes, are you a Knicks fan? And I felt like saying, no, I feel like wearing this hideously ridiculous pom-pom hat with blue and orange for no good. I said, yeah, I've been a Knicks fan all my life. He goes, oh, yeah, they're doing really great. And I went, yeah, they're doing great. I said, I'm old enough to remember when they won championships. And he said, oh, did you used to go to the games? I'm like, how old do you think I am? I mean, I was in the comfort of my parents' home. I wasn't going to the garden when I was 7 years old, for Christ's sake. Anyway, the best comment I've heard about this Nicki Minaj. I just turned her into a whole new Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion war bullshit battle of the whatever. The best comment I've read about this is it's taken Nicki 2 full songs to come back against 1 bar, because all Megan did in Hiss was have that 1 bar about Megan's Law.
Which she immediately attached to herself and then went on the attack. Which was the weird part to me. I'm like...
She didn't say it. She didn't say her husband's a sex offender, even though he is.
And there's so many people, right, that really could apply to. I mean, we've been seeing it left, right, and center. There's so many people that could apply to. I found it interesting, her response, because...
Nicki's response.
Yes, because to me... First of all, I love it. It's good for hip hop, right? I love the old. The old school battle, like the old school. This is old as time. People going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, the meanness and the ugliness, because it's coming off wax to me, is ridiculous.
Yeah,
this is a lyricist thing. You're a lyricist. Let's do it the old school battle. I don't think we need to go into Mean Girl territory and activating fans and threatening dead parents' graves. I think that's a little lowbrow. It's like, this is hip hop. Why can't we keep it as hip hop?
Well, but the thing is, Nicki's verse is just like I said, just on a purely aesthetic thing. Nicki, neither one of those songs are going to win Grammy awards, but Nicki's song is horrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
So, I mean, battle rap has never been more popular. Our friend Nicole Duncan Smith, works with URL, the battle rappers. Kids love This isn't battle rapping. This is Nicki Minaj once again showing her true colors as being that girl who doesn't like other women and taking, I can't speak to her choice in men. That's her. That's her bed. She literally has to lie in it. But it's just nasty. It's not creative. It's not good. There are ways to attack. I mean, going after your parents is ridiculous. I mean, that's stupid stuff. It's just beneath you. But it's just the fact that Megan had one line in one song, and I hate the word triggered. I hate that word, but it's the only word I can think of. It made Nicki so crazy that she's now just nonstop coming out. The best way to have responded to that line would have been no response.
Yep. Nobody else responded.
Megan hasn't responded.
Because you can respond. Well, she shouldn't respond. Here's the thing. Megan is doing a smart thing. Listen, I think you and I have said this before. I love the idea of her. I really enjoy her. I think she's had some good songs. I don't think she has great music. But again, it's not for me, right? But I don't think the music's always great. But I actually really love the idea of Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
And I do think, yes, Nicki, you've been at the top of the food chain for a very long time. Everybody's going to want that crown. But as a queen, I don't think you don't have to respond to everything. And the truth of the matter is the song came out and you 15 minutes later, you had 72 hours on Twitter of just saying all these things. So to me, my question to her would be, well, why did you think she was referencing you? Is that because you've been talking about her? So you immediately were like, that's me? Because there's so many people, right, who could have jumped and said, fuck this bitch. But they're not reacting because, they're not sitting home thinking she's talking about me. And they're not thinking that because they haven't talked about her. Right. So I felt like the response was almost a little bit of showing your colors of being a little guilty.
It's an overreaction. Yeah. I mean, and she, look, people's personal lives are their personal lives. Mm-hmm. I mean, I will give Nicki credit that she has not paraded her kid around in pictures. I mean, you forget that she has a kid, right?
Right. I don't even think we've seen her kid, right?
Which is fine. Which is great.
Which is great.
No obligation.
I 1,000% am into people protecting their privacy and protecting their children.
That's fine. But the fact remains is that you are married to a convicted sex offender. Right. And that's it. And so
you had to know when you did that, you were going to, and then, the things with your family, it's like, that's just going to open you up to certain kind of shots,
but she's just, I mean, and, not to belabor.
May I ask you a question?
She's been a mean girl since the very beginning. When she first started, there was not much competition. No one is denying her talent. I've
very
said,
talented. Yeah.
That verse really on talented. Monster alone.
Yes.
Warrants it, but this just shows a kind of desperation and a kind of pettiness, and like I said, on top of it, it's a terrible song.
Well, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Because I remember in the beginning speaking to you about her.
Am I speaking for all white women at this point? Hold on. Hold on. All right, go.
And you used to talk about how when she came out, she was seen as almost like a feminist icon, right? Well, I mean, in certain ways, women looked at her like, okay, you're busting through this male-dominated world. Yeah. You had to deal with a lot of shit, and you still you rose to the top.
Yeah.
When do you think that changed?
Well, I think, it's funny. I think I mentioned to you when she first started making noise, Bust magazine, which is a very cool feminist woman-run owned publication. Please support it. They're wonderful women. Reviewed her stuff, and it was because of the sort of hyper, she was almost making fun of herself in a way. The Barbie thing was very funny, and she had all different voices, and she was the only woman in the Cash Money crew, and very kind of was seen as being supportive of other women. But from people who were paying a lot more attention to her than honestly I was, they said it's always been there with her. She's always been not a nice person, right? But I think women looked at her as she was the only game in town at that point. She was the only game in town, right?
Right.
And then you started seeing, kind of the other sides of her. But she's very smart. She's very creative. She's an interesting person. But I think it's because she seemed like she was in on the joke with the sort of hypersexual, the barbs, that whole thing. Right. I think, when I think it started to turn is when you started realizing that sort of like in a Trump way. She wasn't getting her hands dirty with her fans, but she wasn't stopping her fans from doing anything.
Right.
And that she only attacks women. She's never, to my knowledge, attacked a guy. I mean, to my knowledge. I don't know. I mean, I don't think she's ever gone after a guy. But someone pointed out she didn't go after Remy Ma when Remy Ma said something about her.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I think it's going to wear thin. I think it's going to very much wear thin. But also
I do think the new generation of young women who are coming up in hip hop, they seem to all get along and like each other. I think the era of a little bit of the mean girlness of it all is coming to an end because it's absolutely unnecessary. I don't think anybody owes anybody homage. Like, I don't see any of these people who are like, if she didn't pay homage to Kim, and I don't, listen, and Kim felt really disrespected by Nicki, by some of the things she said that Nicki was saying and all of these things. It's like, I don't think any of these young ladies who we've seen come up behind her are actually trying to copy her style. They all seem quite different from her. Like, Nicki is I will give her this. I am not a huge Nicki Minaj fan, never been. But I appreciate her. I do think she's talented. I think she's extremely talented. And I don't think any of those people are a competition for her in a certain way because she's unique at what she does, but there is room for everybody. There can be 20 guys at the top of the game, and nobody's trying to rip them apart.
And the men are never asked to pay homage to who came before them. No one has ever sat down with fill in rapper's name here and said, "What do you think?" They don't care. Their ignorance is in fact celebrated. No, it's ridiculous. Of course, it's misogynist. Of course, it's sexism, which we'll talk about in a second with another famous person. There can only be one. And she's the one, and she is 40, which in hip hop years is 110.
Do you think that's a little bit of toxic fandom with it? There can only be one because the fans really start shit when two women become big. I think the Cardi Nicki thing really to me started with fans saying shit online, and then you start believing because everybody there's such a social media generation, and you start reading shit, and then you start believing shit.
Well, I mean that's the problem. It's a social media generation, so they don't know really. No, I mean there's always. Listen, there were always been battles. I mean, like I said, Kool Moe Dee and LL, epic battles, but they were lyrically great, right? Jay and Nas, right? Easily considered the greatest battle in hip hop history. Both of them had career defining, amazing songs.
Yep.
This might be remotely interesting if they had something to say. She's just, if you listen to Bigfoot, if you listen to the track, we're going to completely ignore the fact that she's once again attacking a woman for getting shot. I don't even want to get into that because my head will explode. The hatred that she has of other women and buying into this like hip hop QAnon bullshit that Megan shot herself in the foot or whatever. But it's just a terrible track. Like, you can put up with garbage if it's entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to entertain me, at least, it's a horrible track. It doesn't even sound like her on the track.
It's weird. Yeah.
It sounds like she recorded it like in a bathroom somewhere.
It sounds like voice notes.
It sounds like voice notes.
It does. It sounds like voice notes.
Oh my God. I have to say, and I just read the funniest thing. I actually thought of you and I said that somebody was reviewing Peter's show, Flute Man's show at, and congratulations to Peter for that.
Yeah.
But it was the review in Rolling Stone and oh God, bless their heart. This person, I didn't catch the name of the person, was bemoaning the fact that because they had to lock up their phone, it was going to be really hard to write the review because he couldn't have to remember everything. I'm like, a pen and a piece of paper?
Like, didn't even cross his mind. Didn't even cross their mind, right? Didn't even cross their mind.
When I was a girl, we would just bring a pen and a piece of paper and a notepad and scribble down notes and not voice note everything. And I was like, oh, good Lord. Welcome to journalism.
Right. It's like, what am I going
to do? I'm not going to be able to give a full review because I can't remember everything. Never mind. Anyway. All right. So years ago, in a time far, far away, I had a thing about Taylor Swift. I wasn't crazy about her musically, but what used to drive me nuts about her was like, you know what? She's like this Christian white virginity poster child, and the right wing loved her because she was pure and she did country music and she had bangs and blonde and red and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why doesn't she use her power for good instead of evil? And why is she never speaking out? And blah, blah, blah. Cut to 2024, and Taylor Swift is AOC with a guitar now. The right wing hates her, and not only do they hate her,
they're creating AI images of her in sexual sort of situations.
And there is a whole group of people who, all right, this whole country's doomed, who think that her relationship with Travis Kelce is a psyops. FBI, CIA, something
to help Biden get reelected
because the Chiefs they made the Chiefs, and what's going to happen during halftime is that, and I'm not even making this up. For once in my life, I'm not exaggerating. That during halftime, she's going to tumble down on the jumbotron and endorse Biden, and and it's a fake.
And that the NFL is in on it, and they set up the game so that the Chiefs win, so that they can get her to the Super Bowl.
It's all this.
You know what's really amazing about that?
And meanwhile, Joe Biden is such a doddering idiot that he can't find where his shoes are every day, but yet he has cooked up this master plan.
Listen, again, this is what I'm going to say about that. About Joe Biden being old and bumbling. So are my grandparents, right? But when I went to them for information, I didn't go to them to be cool. I went to them because they seen some shit that can solve some shit. But I will say this. It is really interesting that people won't believe something simple as like, this person A committed this crime. Here's the proof. No, I don't believe that. It's a setup. Yet, they will believe some crazy shit that takes all of these people to come together because of a pop star who you all love and you loved, and you're like, she is our queen, until you found out when she finally could say her people, because, you know, like I've worked with managers whose the rules for their artists, especially when they were building them up, you don't talk politics, so they didn't talk any. I've been in that situation more than once, and I understand that, because the truth of the matter is, when you're trying to sell records, you sell records to everybody. You do. You're a singer. You know, it's like you don't ask somebody what their political affiliation is when they're buying tickets to your concerts. So I understood why, with her being in country and who that audience is, her people were like, you can't. When she decided to do that pop crossover, and then it worked, and she became bigger than ever. And then she was also older. She's like, listen, I need to speak up because people are attributing things to me that aren't true. And from that moment on, all of a sudden, people started, those same group of people acted like she was the worst person in the world. This whole idea, first of all, we've all, if you've been doing your civic duty, we've all been voting since we were 18 years old.
Well, okay, you stopped that if you've been doing your civic duty.
But it really drives me crazy that now, just because somebody votes differently than you, we have really come to the point of conspiracy theory attacking each other. It's like, what does everybody want? I feel like the ball has...
No, this is all... Okay, I know you have friends who are Republicans, but I'm sorry. This is the Republican Party today. And this is it. This is it. I'm sorry. They might be lovely people, but this man is going to be the nominee. I don't, but look, it's the internet feeds conspiracies. Like I said, we have people... You could tell them that today is Monday. It is not Monday. But they will say, oh, it is Monday. How do you know it's Monday? I saw it on Fox News. It's not Monday. Right? It's not Monday. And Joe Biden is not a bumbling old man. He's got a stutter, to be fair. And at least he knows who he's running against.
And he's got a lot of shit done. There's been a lot of shit done. I saw Piles make a video on TikTok, and I wish if you have TikTok, please find it. I'm sure it's on all his social media, where he is yelling at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris about all the shit they've done. He said, why haven't y'all learned how to brag on all of the shit you've done? You're just sitting back getting knocked all over the place. You brag on yourself. The one thing the Republicans know how to do is messaging. They know how to get that message out.
We're early. We still got time.
It's not that early. No, the numbers, we know. Now is the time, because people are forming their opinions, and it is swinging and it's changing, especially in the Black community. So they think that they can come up at the last minute, and the Democrats will find themselves in a really fucked up spot. Now, we're not a political show, so that's what we're going to talk about that.
I want to just get back to the Taylor thing for a second. So Travis is in on this conspiracy. Travis is also he believes in science, so then he's suspect too.
Yeah, because he did vaccine commercials, so they're
so
just
he's suspect.
So they're
clearly,
yeah,
he's suspect too. We joke around about, we're so sick of Taylor Swift. The woman did not say to CBS Sports or Fox Sports, please come with me to the game and take my picture. In fact, she has been telling her boyfriend plays in the Super Bowl. Are we really supposed to think that she's not going to go to the games? It's not her asking. She doesn't need any more media attention. It's the media decided to use 25 seconds of her face. Remember when, what was that? Jason Kidd and his big head kid, they used to show his wife and the big head kid all the time on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a cute kid, but he was up way too late to go to a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
That's something it's just the hatred of women. There is just such hatred of women. And listen, if they're coming for the rich, white, blonde Christians, no one is safe because she's literally the embodiment.
First of all, those same people were scrambling to try to get fucking tickets to her Eras tour. But those same people.
She is literally the embodiment of she is literally what you talk about when you say the girl next door physically. She is a blonde,
the American dream,
Christian woman. And I'm like, so if they think she's some psych ops double agent sent from a planet beyond to destroy masculinity and render you spermless, God help the rest of us.
With a really great red lip.
A fantastic red lip.
That lip is always good.
No,
it's always good. No, never catch that girl slipping with that lip. That lip is always
probably
good.
Part of the conspiracy because she's probably
right. They're like, no, the code is in the lips. They're like the code.
It's red.
They're like,
well, you would think they would like red because that's Republican.
God.
See, they're all wrong. But I just love the fact that is there nothing, look, Republicans have to do this because they have nothing to run on in the election. They're fucking everything up right and left. And so but it's just hilarious because I'm old enough to remember when the left wing hated Taylor Swift because she wouldn't speak out. And now she's with I'm surprised they haven't said he's gay.
It's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's coming. It'll be the next thing.
But no gay man would dress. I will go to my grave.
We dress better than that.
No, the dressing is just out of, bless his heart. But he's complete. Yeah, so it's all a big conspiracy, and this is what all the incels and the Andrew Tates, but it is a serious issue in a way because the hatred of women is a never-ending joyful thing that happens, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And they're attacking. Leave Taylor alone, for crying out loud.
She's got 15 more albums to drop and another half of a tour to get on. Come on, guys, don't add any more stress.
But I love how they're like, that Trump has now come out and said, well, I'm more popular than Taylor Swift. No, you're not.
Oh God,
he's such a. They accuse us as being snowflakes.
It is like.
No, you're not.
You are running for the. First of all, okay, I can't even go to that subject.
Yeah, don't go there. It's you need to talk to your Republican friends and find out who they're going to be voting for in the election. That's all you need to do. And if they're voting for Trump, you need to cut them loose. Well, here's a good segue. Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, first off, do you know that Jalen Brunson has a cereal?
No.
I get ads for it all the time on my feed.
Are you kidding? Real cereal?
A real cereal. I don't want to click on it because I'm afraid of what. No, he has a Jalen Brunson cereal, or he's an endorser for a Jalen Brunson. It's a healthy cereal, of course. There's no action figure.
Oh, it
comes up on my feed all the time because I'm constantly clicking like, yay, Knicks, yay, Knicks. And wait, I have to maybe when I put my hands up is when the balloons happen. Yeah, no, anyway, I'm sorry. So since we're talking about Taylor and how she's destroying American manhood as we know it and sports.
Both my teams lost this weekend. I wanted Baltimore to win. And Guy was on our show last week. All of Baltimore wanted Baltimore to win.
Yeah.
And they played so poorly. I'm sure Baltimore was literally like, what the fuck are we watching? And I really wanted the Lions to win.
Yeah, I think.
And the Lions should have won. They gave that game away. And then the Australia, my sleep is back to normal because the Australian Open is over. And
it must have been hard playing all those matches, Courtney.
Oh, so hard.
How are your arms? They're okay?
But Sabalenka won, so congratulations.
What?
And Yannick Sinner won, so congratulations.
I have no idea
That's
who
good.
these people are.
Coco, got really far, but crashed out in the semifinals, unfortunately. And,
Oh, well. Courtney's great. Should we take a break before we go into a subject that's a little more serious? So maybe have a pause between sports and global nuclear politics?
When we will take a break and be right back.
Hey, Pantheon listeners. Christian Swain here, taking a break from listening to a little Shouted Out Loudcast episode. Love Tom and Zeus talking all things Kiss. Of course, I was listening to them on my new Raycon wireless earbuds. They have quickly become my go-to earbuds because of the comfort. These soft tips are the best I've ever used. And at this price, plus a Pantheon discount, Raycon is really hitting on all marks. Sound quality is great too. I really love having these 3 EQ options because I like more bass in the music, but less in my podcast. 8 hours of playtime for the battery is great as well. Surround sound, noise isolating, and awareness mode are all included. These are great earbuds. Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycom order plus free shipping. That's right. You'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon. Hey, Pantheon listeners, Christian Swain here. Another day, another podcast I'm working on. This time, it's Famous and Gravy with Amit and Michael. I want to let you know that I loved the Factor Meals package so much that I re-upped for myself, and then I sent a package to my in-laws. Like I was with my first shipment from Factor Meals, the in-laws were as excited to try one of the prepared restaurant quality meals. Well, they got the shipment to Protein Plus meal plan and were very impressed. See, being in their 80s, anything to make the meal prep easy is a plus for them. They heated the oven per instructions and minutes later were enjoying a very delicious, nutritious, and dietitian-approved meal. One big win for me. But what really floored them was the taste. Like I told you, it's surprising how good these meals taste. Restaurant quality indeed. And like my own shipment, it really was everything Factor Meals said it would be for some seniors. No prep, no mess meals. Factor Meals are 100% ready to heat and eat. Take it from me and my in-laws. Head to factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. That's factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. Thank you, Factor Meals.
Hey folks, Stefan Shirazi and Renee Richardson here from the Metallica Report.
And we are proud members of the Pantheon Podcast family, where the best of music and podcasts unite.
We've got something pretty cool for you. We're giving away an exclusive Metallica merch package worth over $250.
That's a whole lot of Scary Guys, skulls, M72, and other sought-after Metallica swag. And we've made it easy for you to win. Follow and share the Metallica Report, and you're in the game. Go to pantheonpodcast.com/Metallica, enter your email, and hit that button to be entered to win.
And just like that, you're eligible for our monthly exclusive Metallica merch package.
And guess what, rockers? You can enter every month, so just do it. And while we love our global brothers and sisters, the lawyers won't let us ship outside the U.S.
And we're back.
All right. So Eurovision contest is when? When is that? In a few months?
It's coming up in a few months. It's like May, I believe. May or June. It's around that time.
Okay. So this year it's being held in Sweden, in the city of Malmo, which I know nothing about other than it's always like the setting for all those Swedish slasher murder mysteries I like. So this year, a contingent of artists, most notably, name recognition wise, Robin, who is Swedish, have called for the Eurovision organizing committee to disinvite any contestant from Israel. And their contention is, while they acknowledge the attacks of October 7th with Hamas, Hamas attacking Israel, they acknowledge that their contention is to let the country of Israel sort of redeem itself in terms of culturally saying, yeah, all this is going on, but look, we have a really great singer, and I'm being kind of flip about it. Minimizes what is happening. So this is a hard conversation to have, just because we don't want to. Look, what's going on in Gaza and Israel is way above our pay grade on so many different levels, and it's a difficult conversation to have because it impacts so many people. But the way I'm looking at it, this is sort of, I guess, the equivalent of when a lot of sports organizations, tennis, I know, Eurovision itself wouldn't let the Russian perform, right?
Right.
Because they were afraid that the Russian government would use any kind of win as propaganda. Meaning Russia in terms of Ukraine. So what do you think about this? I sort of see the point, but then I also, once again, always feel for the artists. Like, I am sure there are a lot of Israelis, especially creative people, who are appalled at what's going on.
Well, now you have the UN has called for a ceasefire in Israel. A lot of countries in the world, I think that because what we're seeing, this is, okay, how do I say this? I think that the U.S. Okay, you know what? This is a conversation that I have in person. It's really hard to have it online because there's a lot of nuance to it, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be able to say to someone, the U.S. is coming from an approach of Israel has a right to defend itself. And I think any country has a right to defend itself. But are you saying the Palestinian people don't have rights to? Because what people are calling for is what they're seeing that's happening to everyday civilians. That is what people are. No one's saying don't go after militants, right? But people are seeing things that are happening to civilians. And I think that it really is a bigger conversation that seems to be lost in the horrors of basically war and terrorism.
All
right.
So, but like, do you think that, I guess what we're, because,
I don't know what the right or the wrong answer is. You know what I mean? I really don't know what the right or the wrong answer is, because I think the biggest thing is we need for, I just think.
I think from a security standpoint, to be very, very clinical, from a security standpoint, it would be a very bad idea to have an Israeli performer at this. Strictly from a security standpoint, right. I think that it would, even if this were unless that Israeli performer got on stage wearing the Palestinian flag or wearing that scarf, and I can't pronounce the name that Palestinian people wear, I think it would be very, very difficult. If you want to keep politics out of things, that's impossible. You can't keep politics everything. Art is political. Everything is political. Look, I don't know. I can see the point of not wanting to. I think you treat it the same way. Look, they wouldn't let the Russian performers perform, so why should they let the Israeli performers? I mean, if you just want to look at that thing, these are countries that are engaged in war. We're not going to let. You could be even-handed and say I don't think there is a Palestinian contestant. I think you have to sort of say maybe we won't let anybody from that area. But I see the point. I mean, I see it. But yes, it's a very difficult conversation. It always sucks when art gets dragged into this, but art does get dragged into it.
That's just the plain truth. Art does get it absolutely gets dragged into it. I think that whole situation is, there's just a lot happening in the world. There's just a lot happening. And I've chosen not to speak on it really, not publicly, because it's so nuanced that
well, it's nuanced. It's been going on for decades.
When as a little kid, the one thing that I remember growing up was there was always conflict in the Middle East. I remember that. And then when I was young, it was the Soviet Union. It was, they never said Russia.
And
everything
Ireland.
was called the Soviet Union. But what I remember was always fighting. I remember Yasser Arafat and the PLO, and now we have Hamas. And I'm like, guess what? If we don't change certain things, there will be the next thing.
It's all England's fault. We could just blame him.
It's really interesting when I hear people talking about it and blaming the U.S. It's like, yeah, the U.S. has some things, but actually, if you go through the history of this situation, we need to be looking across the pond. And that's why I think, why aren't y'all taking a bigger lead in this whole situation? Because this literally was your doing a lot of just how that land was separated and all of the things.
Divide something up. Anyway, it's going to be a conversation, and as sports stuff starts happening, it's going to rile up. But one thing, because he is a trendsetter, Roger Waters has been hating Jews for years. So now I will say this. I want to say, all joking aside, there is
when did he first start saying this kind of stuff?
I think since Jump. He's always been that guy. Right. But I don't, okay, fun fact, I'm like the one person who didn't really care about Pink Floyd. I mean, I know them, obviously. But there is a difference between being anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli policies.
Right.
All right? Roger Waters is an anti-Semite.
Right.
And he also doesn't agree with Israeli policies. But Roger Waters also is a Putin apologist. He believes that Ukraine brought this war, was the aggressor in this war. He's not a good dude. All right. He's been dropped by his publishing company. This is why we're talking about it. He's been dropped by BMG. He has had anti-Semitic tropes in his stage show. He's always claimed, it's like, oh, I'm making a commentary. It's irony. It's like, yeah, you see, but the thing is, when people have heard you say anti-Semitic things, you don't get to play the it's irony card. You know, like when you've shown up someplace wearing like a Hitler uniform or something, you don't get to say, oh, but I'm being ironic. Like, no, like when you have pigs flying above with Star of David's, no, you don't know. You threw that card out the window. So anyway, he's been dropped by BMG, which is a German company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he has been dropped by BMG Publishing. That's what happened with Kanye too. He lost his publishing deal.
Supposedly. Yeah,
publishing. So that's actually like more lucrative than anything else, isn't it?
No, that's where the money is. But
I mean, he's like I said, it's one thing to be against what's going on in Israel right now. And that's a very valid conversation.
Absolutely,
it's another thing to be against an entire religion. And he has shown himself to be anti-Semitic. I mean, he really has. And you know what? It's a free market. He works for a company. He works for a private company, and they can decide to do whatever the hell they want to do. And they're like, you know what? You're a liability at this point.
Right.
So why not? Just get rid of, I mean, his own former bandmates want nothing to do with him. I mean, they have spoken out against him. So yeah, he seems like somebody who's problematic, right? He's always kind of
a little bit. Listen, and I think you actually put that in a really good way. You can absolutely be against the policies of what Israel is doing right now and what is happening over there, because I think most of the world is kind of taking that position, as opposed to some of the stuff that's been coming out of his mouth. And listen, we have free speech. You can say what you want, and people can choose to not do business with that.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he's got money. He's an intelligent person. He's decided to espouse stupid, hateful, ignorant shit. I mean, for the stuff for Ukraine alone, I mean, come on, really? Like, who in the world other than, Matt Gaetz, whatever that lunatic's name is saying that Russia is the victim in the Ukraine war? So, you know what, Roger, what you made your stuff. I hope those.
Do you remember when? It's so interesting when I hear some of these Republicans talking about the virtues of Russia. Hasn't Russia always been the enemy of the United States? No, I feel like in school that Russia was always the enemy of the United States.
You know how many hours I spent underneath desks hiding from the Russians?
Do you have like your Safari open or something on your computer?
No.
Oh, okay. Right, because sometimes it was doing a little draggy thing, but it's not doing it so much. Okay.
No. Russia used to be all those Rocky movies. Come on.
I mean, and now all of a sudden they're like, and Russia, I'm like, do I need to go back to school? Did I miss something?
Republicans. All right. The Grammys are this weekend.
The Grammys are this weekend. Team SZA, come on, SZA. I want you to get Album of the Year.
SZA.
I want to get. You seem to think that Record of the Year is going to go to Billie Eilish for her song. I think that she's probably going to get Song of the Year. I think Record of the Year.
What's the difference between Song of the Year and Record of the Year? Explain it.
One is an artist award, and one is the writer.
All right. So what's the Song of the Year? Writer or artist?
Yeah, Song of the Year is writer, I believe, and record is. Hold on, let me look it up while we're talking.
Because she's the writer and the artist. That's the thing.
Yeah, she is. Her and her brother.
Right.
You think it's that? I think it's going to be Flowers by Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus.
Miley SZA.
I think that Flowers was a really huge. Wonderful Song of the Year.
La 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 la. Well, anyway.
Okay, Song of the Year goes to the songwriter who actually wrote the lyrics. The song is the writer. Record of the Year is the performing artist.
Well, at that point,
the Record of the Year is the performing artist, the producer, the recording engineer, and/or mixer of the song.
I think that's Billie. That song sounds Miley's song sounds like a pop song. It's whatever, but that song. What's really great about that Billie Eilish's song is the whole overall sound of it too.
But the bigger of the two records, if we want to get into that, was the Miley record.
Billie is on she's won. Didn't she just win? She's won all these awards with this. She's up.
No, she hasn't won a bunch. She's won one or two. She hasn't won all of them. And I think that's only because hers was attached to a movie, right? So we've seen a bunch of award shows that have been movie award shows, and it's been the theme category. I think that this is seen as a big. First of all, this was Miley's, her debut album on Columbia. It was the first single. It was a huge number one for weeks around the world. So this is a very big global song. Even Billie was big too, but Miley was the bigger record. And, Columbia is going to do that push and want to win some Grammys. So I think it's going to be a good fight. But I think one will get one and one will get the other.
Right. I think we've said this for Album of the Year, just write John Baptiste out, write him out. Bless his heart. He's done.
I think the first record was better. Listen, that first album was great. This record was just okay. The first album was
good. The
great.
First record was
so
good.
You know what? As much as people think it's unexpected, I get everybody votes, and it's not about what is popular with the people. What do people in music think was the best record? Because you and I know this. You love the New York Dolls. They're one of the best bands of that time and what they did, but they still have not been for public consumption, right? So I'm glad that we vote like that. When Esperanza Spalding won, she is a brilliant artist, right?
Right.
So I get why he won that first time. Him being nominated again seemed like that Grammy shit when you win one, so they know your name.
Give it again.
They put your name in there. That was kind of like, guys, this is not going to happen twice.
No, the award is going to go, it's the women this year.
I don't think it'll be Taylor for Midnights, because even though that was a good record, it wasn't her best record.
This is SZA's.
Yeah.
It's SZA's to lose.
Absolutely.
I think SZA's only competition in that category, because it's gotten critical acclaim and sales acclaim, though not as big as SZA.
Boy Genius.
It would be Boy Genius.
Yeah.
And I think Boy Genius might appeal to some people because they play instruments.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to be nasty, because I do like them. And they're women and they're a group. And I think they're not as producer driven. And, there are some very still traditional. But this is, SZA, it's like SZA and Taylor, for me, were the two biggest music stories of the year. They really were.
Yep.
And SZA was the one that came out of who would have thunk?
It's true.
Who would have thunk?
Because it had been 5? It was 5 years between the debut album, and I knew that people liked her. I knew that people liked her.
I didn't know.
I didn't realize it was like that. You know what I mean? I really did it. And for a Black artist and a Black female artist to get to be number one on the Billboard 200 album chart for 10 weeks. It was 9 consecutive, went down to number 2 and came back to number 1. It's That's a big deal. That has not happened since Mariah Carey's first album.
Right. And she wasn't black back then.
Right. Remember? I mean, honey, not according to Columbia. Mariah was,
but not black those first couple of records.
I know sometimes when I hear her talk about it, I want to say, well, you were feeling black, but your former partner and head of the company wouldn't let anybody say that shit. No, like you couldn't say it. You couldn't even make any reference to it.
No, she was not black.
Did they make you take something that you wrote a bio?
No, I was gonna write. I was hired to write a bio. Mm-hmm. I didn't talk to her because Mariah doesn't talk to people. It was early on. It was when she was still with Tommy, I'm pretty sure. And they wanted to make it sort of edgy or something. And I said, should I talk about her being black? And I was told, well, that's apocryphal. And I'm like, how could she be apocryphal black? She's either black or she isn't black.
Right. It's like
she became black when she did the Old Dirty Bastard remix.
No, she became black when she filed for divorce. And then she finally was like, listen.
I'm black.
You know?
Like blackity black, black, black. Right. To quote from the great. Yeah, yeah. But it was like, because we all would look at that first album and go, I don't know what she is, but she ain't white.
Let me just tell you something. I have some fun stories from around that time.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I can tell them off. I can tell them off mic.
Well, anyway, I do think. I think if Naris is smart, which I know is ridiculous.
Well, they've gotten a lot of new members in there. It's not younger people. It's a lot more diverse.
No, they're not. Okay, I'm glad you said that because I thought when those people were posting pictures of like, I am now a member of the Academy, they're not voting members.
No, but I'm talking about they have on the voting side, they have recruited. There are new people in. They have absolutely.
No, I think SZA has done everything right. I think it was a great album. It was critically acclaimed. It sold.
And you know what else was great about it? She wasn't really in your face the way a lot of people are. She didn't do 20 million interviews.
I don't even know what she sounds like.
You don't see her. This is what I'm eating for breakfast. No. Really was about the album and the music.
Her tours sold out. Yeah. I think, and she aligned. So I think it's between her and Boy Genius for album of the year. I think Lana Del Rey.
I think it's hers to lose. I think it's hers.
Yeah, I think it's her and Lana Del Rey. I've already told you my feeling about her. She makes the same record every single year. The sad girl Republican nonsense. I am not a fan of women who don't like women.
From upstate New York.
I don't think that's she's not from upstate New York. She's from Westchester. There's a huge only a New Yorker thinks that Westchester is upstate New York.
Well, to me, once you cross, Westchester, Yonkers,
and anything above that is Canada.
Yeah, it's like you're upstate to me. I'm like, you're not Canada. In the 5 boroughs. You're upstate.
Upstate. All right. So, and let's not even go through all the hip hop stuff, but I think that it's SZA's to lose. And best new artist. Who's best new artist?
I would love it to be Victoria Monet.
Me too.
But I think it's going to be Jelly Roll. I do.
I think Jelly Roll is correct. I live in fear because it'll only encourage her that it might be Ice Spice.
It won't be that. It won't be Ice Spice.
I'm just saying.
It won't be.
All right, good.
Because really, when it comes down to it,
they will vote for musical ability.
It's like if you've never heard of her, right? And you're a Grammy voter, and you're like, okay, let me listen to it. You put on one song, and you're not going to vote for her, and that's not a disrespect to her what she does. It's not. But if you're going through that list and you're listening to people you don't know, and you click on Ice Spice, you're not going to give her the Grammy for best new artist.
But Jelly Roll, I think that's legit. I mean, I think that's very legit.
I think it's between him and Victoria Monet. I do. Now,
I would love to see Victoria Monet.
I think she's going to win some of those R&B Grammys. I do. Sure. I think On My Mama's going to win some of those R&B Grammys. I really, really do. Now, it would be a gag and a snatch if she won Best New Artist, right? Stranger things have happened. We didn't see Samara Joy coming in and snatching it, and she did.
Yeah.
And deservedly so. That voice is amazing. Yeah. So people could look at Victoria and say, you know what, you write, you produce, you've written those songs for Ariana Grande, we know who you are, and then reward her for this album. But Jelly Roll has also had a year, so I for some reason I think it's going to be him.
I mean, I know SZA's performing. Are there any of these horrible Grammy? Oh, they don't do that anymore. Like making Grammy moments. They stopped that nonsense, right? Where they drag. Can I say, obviously done under horrible circumstances because nobody wants a pandemic. But that first Grammy show during lockdown was the best Grammy show I've ever seen
In a long time. Yeah, it was a good one.
It was great. They did the Jules Holland model where they just had everybody performing, and it was great. So they're back in a big arena again, or Staples Center, or whatever.
I mean, I think the best one I've ever seen is I've been to a couple. I was at the one where Beyonce came out with Prince, and that was electric. And then that was the same one where it's toward the end of the show, and I'm sitting, doing my thing because I'm working, and then Madonna walked out. And, that was, me and Madonna. So I was like, oh my God, it's Madonna. But, that was a good show.
But I think, it's just, is there a host this year? Or are they doing or is it LL?
Yes, it is. No, it's Trevor Noah. I feel like when they started hiring him, when they got rid of LL as the host and started Trevor Noah, they've kept Trevor Noah. I always felt like LL was a great Grammys host. Why they had to switch it off to, I guess,
Trevor
to
Noah.
Trevor?
I mean, Trevor Noah is so uninteresting unless he's doing The Daily Show.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He's a terrible host. I'm sorry.
What do you think of Jon Stewart coming back for Mondays and Jones?
Very excited.
I think we need him, especially during this election year. Even though it's only one night a week, he's doing Monday nights. I think that's great. Mm-hmm.
I think it's Trevor Noah, and watching Trevor Noah do dad dancing is so awful. It's really awful. It's just the dad dancing is just it's a toss up between him and Taylor dancing, and thank God we don't have to look at Taylor dancing anymore. Well, now she's the most hated woman in America.
Right. Did all those people still want tickets for their kids and themselves to the show? It's so funny.
All the incels. All right. What do you? Let's talk a little about. We lost two.
Broadway icons.
Melanie.
Broadway icons. Hinton Battle.
Well, you didn't. I didn't have that down here.
And Cheetah Rivera.
All right, so you can talk about those.
Broadway icons. Just, triple threats. Back when artists, to be famous, you really had to be talented, right? And they sang, they danced, just really. I hope they're dimming the lights on Broadway, for both of them,
sure they are.
And doing a proper tribute because, listen, we're losing a lot of that generation of really great performers, and we're not really seeing them replaced by anybody. So I don't know. There's nobody else like a Cheetah.
Cheetah Rivera. Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? It's like a Hinton Battle, the way the tap. Yes, we have Savion Glover, who's in that same vein. But you think about that level of star. Everybody today is like, I have a brand, I have a this, I have a that. These people went out and they really fucking worked. And
he was young in Battle.
61.
That's young.
Yeah.
That's young.
Mm-hmm.
91. Bless her heart. 91. It's
a full life. She lived a long life. Yeah.
Life. Yeah, but Cheetah Rivera is great. Great actress, great singer, great dancer. Most famously, Chicago, but was first gained attention through the original stage production of West Side Story. She was Anita, which is the role then that Rita Moreno played in the movie, which was then, Ariana DeBose played in the Why Did They Bother Making a Remake of the movie. So she was very good, but that was one of those, really? Because it's only a perfect movie, West Side
Story. And I told you, and they filmed that by me, around the corner. And one day I came outside and I was going to the store and I saw them rehearsing the scene, and it was I called it questionable dancing, and I was like, oh no. Whatever this is.
It was just, but anyway, so she was great. Hinton Battle, I know the name, I don't really 100% know who he is, but I'm sure I do know who he is.
Two-time Tony winner, great, really just a Broadway legend also.
And then Melanie passed last week, and Melanie, if you're of a certain age, she raises her hand, was just, oh my God, she was huge in the early 70s, brand new key, look what they've done to my song, Mom, give peace a chance, peace will come, excuse me. and Lay Down with the Edwin Hawkins singers, which if you've never seen, I mean, hearing it is amazing, but for her to go toe to toe with the Edwin Hawkins singers, which is no easy feat, because that was one of the best gospel choirs around.
And she's one of the early one-namers, right? Like, she was just Melanie. Even though she had a last name professionally, she just went as Melanie.
Cher, Odetta.
Yeah, okay. When did yes. One of the first early. I did not say first.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
I think probably because her last name was so it was a difficult, I can't even remember her last name. It was a difficult name to pronounce. It was too ethnic, probably. They probably didn't like that. But I loved her. I mean, I really physically loved her. I thought she was so beautiful. She's from Queens. And when she made her name, I believe she was one of the only solo women performers at Woodstock, or one of very few. And she was 22 at Woodstock. Yeah, just gorgeous voice. And so she passed away, and that's sad. And Cheetah Rivera and Hinton Battle. And people die. People die. But she was great. And
Brian Wilson's wife, right? Brian Wilson's wife, who
Which
he
one?
credits. Did he have one? I thought.
Yeah.
Well, the one that I believe he was with, who he credited with helping him finish the album, and they've been together for like 30-something years or something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Who is she?
Well, I thought that was a white people story that you might have known it.
No, not at all. No idea who this woman is.
You're not a Beach Boys person? I thought you were.
No, I'm a Beach Boys person. I'm not a fan. I am not a wife of the person who's married to somebody in the Beach Boys. I have no idea.
Yeah, but you always know those people are.
No, I don't. No,
yes,
I have no idea who this woman. I have no idea who this woman is. I had no idea.
This is white on white crime.
No, I have no idea. I mean, Brian. All right. I have no idea who this woman is. She's the wife of somebody.
Neither did I, but she got a lot of press around it. I was like, is she famous for something?
Well, she was married. I mean, if she got him away from that crazy psychiatrist, I think that's what it is. She got him away from Eugene Landy, which is a very good thing. She is not the mother of Wilson.
Who's Eugene Landy?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's the psychiatrist who he was sort of had Brian Wilson under like a grip for years, and basically kept him from read the whole, that's the thing. He was like a horrible, they made a Law and Order episode out of it. Sort of like the psychiatrist.
Wait, was that the one where the guy was the movie star?
Yes.
And he kills his ex-wife, and he's got that psychiatrist who's really controlling him?
Yes.
No fucking way.
Well, that Law and Order episode was sort of a combination of...
And it was a three-parter, remember? Because it goes New York, LA, and they come back to New York.
That's a different one. Oh, there's two of them. There's two that kind of thing. But
and that was the one with the psychiatrist was controlling.
Right, and there's another one with that too. They did too, but it's sort of a combination of Phil Spector and Brian Wilson. So the guy, that one is more Phil Spector. Anyway, Eugene Landy he may still be alive, was a very, very controlling psychiatrist who kind of sunk his teeth into Brian Wilson and kept Brian from performing. And I guess this woman helped get rid of him, but she is not the mother of Wilson Phillips.
Gotcha.
She is not their mom, and I'm sorry she's dead, but I honestly had no idea who she is. And that's not to be disrespectful. I have just no idea.
Isn't Michelle Phillips the mother of Wilson Phillips?
Well, there's the Wilson, which are Michelle Phillips is the mother of China Phillips.
Okay, right.
And then
right.
Carney and Wendy
Maybe?
Wilson are Brian Wilson and his first wife, Marilyn's kids. I know way too much. I actually interviewed Wilson Phillips once.
Did you?
Yes, they're very nice. They're very nice. I mean, they were nice. I mean,
they had a moment. They had a huge moment. They had a huge moment.
Huge moment.
They really did.
And that huge moment became the entire basis of Bridesmaids. That's the whole ending of that movie.
Kind of, sort of.
Is that huge moment. No, they were very nice. You know, they let me talk to white people. They were very nice. No, they were very, very nice. But anyway, I'm so confused. All right, Melanie, Cheetah Rivera, Hinton Battle. What are you listening to?
Luther Vandross.
Yay.
Luther Vandross. I've just been in Luther mood. You know, Luther Vandross. And I also listened to a couple of the Aretha Franklin albums I've been listening to, her Columbia Records, jazz records.
Oh, the early, with John Hammond producing.
Yeah, the early records. But her voice is just so young and strong and pure, and hearing her sing jazz. It's so funny how at her, to me, when her voice was always amazing, but at her strongest point is the material that people know the least, her voice, right? Her Columbia records, which are beautiful. Her voice is amazing. And then in the 70s, those flop albums at Atlantic that people don't know, is like her voice is, to me, at its peak on not peak material, even though there are real diamonds in the rough in those albums. But yeah, so I've just been kind of, I'm back to just wanting to hear real singers, like vocals, lush production.
Wait a minute, hold on. You actually want to hear people who sing?
Yeah.
There goes your wait a minute.
Well, listen, okay? Go back. My thing is I always want to.
No, I'm teasing. Have you fallen on your head?
No, I think it's because it's Grammys time, and it's like I'm thinking about, in real stuff. Because, listen, I like my fluff and fodder. That's great stuff.
We all do. Come on,
But, being able to still pull out these Luther records shows you how much that is the kind of stuff that is evergreen, and just no one sounds like him.
No one. And that's an interesting thing you say, because, we always hear people, who's the new Marvin? Who's the new Stevie? Who's the new... I have never heard anyone ask, who's the new Luther?
Ever.
And I don't know whether that's because his persona was sort of elusive in a way, or he didn't cross over in the way that you could think of it. But vocally, I can hear Stevie in a lot of performers, for sure. We can hear Marvin in a lot of performers.
Absolutely.
For sure. I have never heard Luther.
It just felt like what Luther could do with his voice. We're not hearing anybody come out and sing that has that same ability.
And you don't want to be like, what gay male black singer? It's not even that. I have never, it's funny you say that. I have never heard his name come up in terms of who is the new in terms of vocally, ever. Will Downing was never compared to him.
Nope.
Christopher Williams was never compared.
Freddie Jackson wasn't compared to him.
It was just sort of like Luther and then other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his stuff is great, and he's great, and
And you know what else I listened to after not for years? I listened to the Michael Jackson Bad album. Don't ask me why I put that on. I haven't played it in years. And it sounded really, after not listening to it for years, it sounded really good. Yeah. Really good.
It's Grammy time. We're all, I wanted to say something really, I'll tell you what I'm listening to, but I just thought of something that I wanted to say during the Taylor thing. One of these right-wing Republican incel losers was like, oh, we don't have to worry about, Taylor, because we've got Kid Rock. We've got Ted Nugent. I'm like, oh yeah, that. Well, we've got influence. Well, there you go.
Well, there you go. Well, you're safe. You're safe. Absolutely safe now. Thank God, your savior has shown up.
The nation is here. Anyway, I have been many years ago.
Whose bar that he owns never stopped selling Bud Light, by the way.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous.
And the funny thing is, it's like, I don't know, if you walk into any gay bar in America, gays drink beer. Lots of it. Lots and lots of beer.
Yes, they do. A couple of years ago, I was watching Jules Holland. There was a woman performing. I was like mesmerized by it. I thought she was amazing. I couldn't remember her name. I loved the song. Couldn't find the clip anywhere. Blah, blah, blah. At a friend's house, her and her girlfriend are playing this music. I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. Who is this? This voice sounds so familiar. Who is this? Frazee Ford. The album is called Indian Ocean. She's from either Canada or Alaska. She's not from a place where you would think someone sounds like a sort of southern kind of folky, southern bluesy rock chick. Great singer. I don't know what's happened to her, but thank God for Shazam, right? You could just sit there and go, who is this Shazam? And I've been checking out a little bit, not really dive deep into it, but just listen to a few tracks off the new Green Day record, and it's great. It's Green Day. I know the problems everybody has with Green Day. I understand they have never claimed to be the originators of punk, for crying out loud. They are a pop punk band. They do what they do good, and bless Billy Joe Armstrong for being political and because I don't know who else is doing it.
And listen, I'm glad they're still around. They're still making great music. Yeah. They're going on a big tour where they're going to be playing a couple of their albums in completion, including American Idiot. So it's like,
that's
go do
a thing now, right? Now everybody plays their albums.
They're playing albums in full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know. Actually, the only time I ever saw that, and it was really fun, I saw Patti Smith did Horses at BAM. And then she goes, now side B. And I went, I was like, oh yeah, kids. There used to be A-sides and B-sides on records.
This is true. And so and we would always love on a lot of times, I love the song that was on the B-side of the 45, the non-album track and stuff. You know?
That was always the song that ended up. That's how Wicked Game, became a huge
hit. It was the B-side. That's how who else was it? I want to say that one of the Sean Paul songs was a B-side.
They kind of somebody flipped it over
and started playing it. And back when you could break a song by just playing it at one station randomly, and then all of a sudden it kind of sweeps through and doing all the things.
And then you think, God, what would the A-side have sounded like if the B-side was that good? The A-side must have been like, who knew? Anyway, take us out, please. Please take us out. Please take us out. I'm so sad. Take me out.
Good luck to all of the Grammy nominees. Yeah. And next week we'll have our wrap-up show when we talk about said Grammys that have happened.
Said Grammys.
And you know the deal. Leave a message for us on our Facebook page at ImmaLetYouFinish, all one word. We love talking to you guys there. You're very active. You guys are very opinionated. We live for it. We're still on Threads at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. We're on Instagram at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. You can, for all of you who have discovered us on the Pantheon Podcast main feed, hey, welcome. All of the new people, hey, welcome. And
welcome. Hi.
Leave a rating, tell a friend, share our show, and we will see you next week. Toodles.
Bye.
Hey, this is Liberty DeVito.
This is Mike Del Giudice.
This is Michael Cavanaugh from Broadway's Moving Out.
This is John Jackson, director of the Billy Joel Archive.
This is Russell Javers.
This is Richie Cannata, and you're listening to Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast. It's awesome.
I'm Michael Grosvenor.
And I'm Jack Fernino.
We're lifelong Billy Joel fans who launched a podcast in 2020 celebrating the music we love.
Whether you're looking for the greatest hits or the B-sides and rarities, you'll find it all here. And if you've ever wondered what happens behind the scenes of a concert or recording session, we've got you covered.
Join us as we explore albums, tours, band members, the latest news, and more. You'll also get a unique glimpse into the music industry straight from the musicians and other professionals who help make it all happen.
Tune into Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast at glasshouses.pod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast is a proud member of the Pantheon Podcasts Network.